Hi, welcome back to the Let's Code channel where we learn to code together. Today we're starting a series of videos called Learn C# for Game Development, where we're going to learn the basics of the C# programming language necessary for developing video games with Unity. We're going to discuss all the basic concepts of the language. We're going to write some apps. It's going to be great. Let's begin. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment under the video. And now to the lesson itself, learn C# for game development. So today we're going to talk about, first of all, why learn C#. We're going to set up Visual Studio, which is an IDE or integrated development environment, basically a tool for writing code. And we're going to write our first program. So let's start. Let's start with why learn C# at all. Well, first of all, it's simple. It's quite understandable when you read it. It's easy to learn. It's one of the easiest languages. So there is that. It's well documented by Microsoft. It's developed by Microsoft. And Microsoft has all the documentation necessary for you to read, to go through. They have code examples. It's amazing. It's simply amazing. And it's flexible. Now, what do I mean by flexible? It means that you can develop for all kinds of platforms. You can develop for iOS, Android, Windows, Mac. You can develop console apps, something that we're going to do in this course, which will help us to better understand the language and learn faster. You can develop web apps. So should you want to develop web applications, websites, C# is your go-to language. And of course, video games. With Unity is one of the two most popular game engines. There's so many games that made in Unity. So C# is also good for that. Now, and here are some examples of the games developed with Unity. These are just several examples, but as you can see, there are some great games that were developed with this engine. Let's move on to setting up our IDE. We're going to type Visual Studio in Google, and we're going to open the first link by Microsoft. And let's find Visual Studio. Here it is. We're going to download the Community Edition. This is the free one, so it's going to download. We're going to open it, press continue, let it set up everything, prepare for the installation. It's getting ready, so we're going to choose some packages. Here they are. So what we're going to need is we're going to need .NET Desktop Development, and we're going to need game development with Unity. Now, this is not a part of this course exactly, so we're going to touch Unity in a different course, but this is something that you will need in the future, so I suggest just set it up right now. You can also choose whatever you want here. You can set up all the packages. You can set up ASP.NET and web development should you decide to develop backend web applications. You can choose C++ development if you're interested in that. I'm just going to choose .NET Desktop Development and Game Development with Unity for now. We're going to choose the location here, so you basically choose whatever you want. I'm going to choose this drive. I'm going to create a folder here, call it Visual Studio. And now everything... Oh, wait a second, that was the wrong disk. Let's create that here. There you go. And I'm going to click install. So now it's going to take some time to install. I'm going to see you after it's done.
2 hours later.
After Visual Studio is done installing, it's gonna suggest that you sign in with your Microsoft account. You can either do that or skip. I'm already signed in automatically, so after that it's going to open this window. This is your list of the most recent projects, and this is the options. These are the options that you have. We're going to choose create a new project, It's going to suggest some templates for us. And we're going to start with a simple console app. So if you don't have it here as the first option, you can search. You can write console app, and it's going to suggest you that as an option. So you need a C# console app. Let's give it some time to load, and there you go. So we're going to name it first program. Yeah, we got this. Let's click next. Make sure that you have do not use top level statements marked here, otherwise the program will not generate some initial code that we're going to need. And after that's done, click create. So now Visual Studio will create a project and will load it for us. Let's wait a little bit. And this is our project, our first program. So let's take a look. Initially, the code might look a little bit small. The way you can do it, the way you can make it bigger is you can press Ctrl and scroll with your mouse. Otherwise, you also have an option to go to Edit, View, Properties window. Nope. So we're going to, where was it? Tools, options. That's right. Tools, options. We're going to look for font and colors. And here we can change the size of our font. Let's put 14. 14 is a little bit much, so let's make it smaller. And I think like that we're good. So this is our first program that we have here. There's a lot of words, as you can see, a lot of different things. We're not going to dive really deep into all of them right now. What interests us the most is this static void main string, some brackets, args, and then the console write line hello world. Now, there is a convention in the programming world that your first program should say hello world, so that's what Visual Studio generates for us. So what is it exactly? What is the main? What is the static void main? What is the console.writeLine hello world? We're just going to discuss it shortly this time, but don't worry, we're going to dive deeper into that later in the course. So for the static void, think of it as an entry point in the program. So everything inside the brackets of the static void main method, it's a method, is going to run when we run our program. So this is what's going to be displayed. It's going to display hello world. So everything that's inside the main method runs when we run our program. You can run your program by clicking this button here. It says first program. So it's supposed to say hello world. Let's try and run our program. See what happens. So it's building it. And here we get a console line and it says hello world. So this is basically what's displayed. So basically console write line is a command that outputs text that's inside the parentheses in the console, and in this case it's hello world. So let's try to write something else. I mean, this is already generated for us, so let's erase it completely and write something else ourselves. Let's start again by writing console, and as you can see, the IDE suggests you option. It's really smart, so it gives you options of what you might want to write here, but we're going to do it ourselves for now. So we're going to say console.write, and see if you can see it already suggests write line. We're going to put the brackets here, and now we need to write the text that we want to output in the console. Now, as you probably have already noticed, the text was in the brackets, right? So we need to put the text in the brackets because that way we're telling the IDE that this is not a command that we need you to execute. This is not a code word. This is the string. This is the text that we want to output. That's why we put it in the brackets. And let's say I'm learning to code. And one more little detail that we need to put as well is this semicolon at the end of our command. So basically each command in C# ends with semicolon. That way we'll let the language know, hey, this is the whole command that we need you to execute. What's coming next is going to be a next command, another one. So let's see if our program outputs what we've written here. I'm learning to code. Let's run our program. And yes, it does. It says I'm learning to code. We can press any key to close this window. So we press anything and it closes down. Now, this is our first program. We are now outputting the text in the console. So congratulations, you're officially a programmer. What else might be interesting here in the IDE? Here you have your Solution Explorer where you have all the files of your program. Now we have only one file. It's called program.cs, CS for C#. If you have a light theme and not a dark one like me, you can go into Tools, and here you have a theme. So you can choose a different theme. For example, you can choose a blue one, and it's going to change to this light blue theme. I'm going to put it back to dark. I'm going to increase the font size once again. In general, in Tools, you have these options here, so you can go take a look at it. There's font settings in case you don't like the default font, and a bunch of other settings that you don't need to worry about right now. Just play around with this console write line, write some text, and congratulations with making your first program. And before we end this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment under the video. Please let me know in the comments if there are any particular topics that you would like me to cover throughout this course, or something that you would like to know in C# for game development. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.